All right, settle down. It's going to happen. Jesus. Hi, I'm Vince Amios, and I'm converting a shipping container into a tiny house-style home office. On the previous episode, I installed an extremely expensive door, and on this episode, I'm installing the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. Is that true? Is that the episode we're doing?
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
That's
that would do.
Good.
Good door.
I'm using an 8-foot by 2-foot chipboard product with interlocking sides that is a very common flooring product for base layers. And it's a really handy product. I can just lay it across the beams and screw it straight down.
I'm using the same chipboard style flooring on the walls. The reason is it's primarily cheap, but it's also quite strong. And I'm screwing that directly into the stud work. Where there's sockets, I'm just screwing holes and then making some cuts so the sockets can come through there. And that seems to be going quite well. The interlocking mechanism is really fantastic just to make sure that it all lines up and it goes together quite well.
This shipping container was in service for 10 years and it had probably quite a hard life. The walls definitely were not straight, and when I started to put big long pieces of straight material on them, I started to notice some kinking here and there. Now once the boards were on, you couldn't really see it, but as they were going up there was a little bit of difficulty. I had to back some screws out before I could get other boards on top of the ones that were already installed, and they were twisting and warping slightly. In the end it was fine, it was absolutely perfect, but there was a few little challenges to overcome.
Ta-da!
After a few hours of tripping over my own mess, in order to get to the ceiling boards, I actually had to then tidy up after myself. And in the end, it was a rather satisfying process, and it was quite nice to see the container in a tidy state for once. So things are starting to get quite exciting now. I've already done a couple of the ceiling boards and we're about to get into doing the rest of them, and I'll show you that. And I've also got one of the light rails up, which you can see is working. So this is really quite exciting. What I'm using for the ceiling panels is an insulated plasterboard. It's got an inch of polyisocyanurate insulation, and that's twice as good thermal performance as expanded polystyrene. And it's already attached to the plasterboard, so all I have to do is just lift them into position. But they are very, very heavy, and it's very difficult to do by myself. So I built this contraption here, and all I'm using this for is just to hold one end of the plasterboard up while I'm working on the other end. And that means that although they're still quite difficult to work with, I'm able to get these up by myself. So I'll show you how we do that now. Well, even if I wasn't tired, this is annoying. This is very hard by yourself. That's a bit better. Okay, right. Now, I'm going to pull the lighting cable through. Now that is actually connected, but it should be okay. Let's just hope they're not famous last words. But if they are, I love my wife and my child and all that. There we go. Easy. Okay. This is going a bit better. I'd purposely made the dead man slightly too short, and I was just propping up the legs with a few pieces of cut-offs of steel to get me to the right height. On the opposite wall, until I had a chance to screw the ceiling panel into the ceiling joists, I just screwed a piece of wood into the wall. The final piece. It's not as big and it's not as heavy. I've just noticed I've taken a massive chunk out of it, so I'll have to find a way to sort that out. But I can at least get it up and in place, hopefully. And then the ceiling will be done and the container will be ready to paint. Okay. I probably could have planned this one out a bit better. I was able to find the location of the ceiling joists reliably with a tape measure. That's the ceiling finished. That wasn't fun, but it's good when it's done. Thank you so much for watching. The next step is now to paint the inside of the shipping container, and that's what will be in the next episode. So for now, make sure you're subscribed, and if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you've got the means to support this series and this channel, please pop over to my Patreon. There is a link in the description, as well as a link to my Patreon. And if you've got any questions or comments, pop them down in the comments below. For now, thank you, and see you on the next episode.